Paul Heyman has committed the kind of betrayal that will go down in history as one of the most disgusting and shocking acts the wrestling world has ever seen, and the ripple effect of his decision is still shaking the foundations of WWE. For over 2 decades, Paul Heyman and Brock Lesnar were more than just client and advocate. They were inseparable forces of nature, bound together by trust, loyalty, and a shared dominance over the industry. Brock was the beast incarnate, the unstoppable juggernaut, while Paul was the mastermind who gave voice to the destruction. Together they built an empire of fear and respect, but all of that came crashing down when Heyman decided to turn his back in the most vicious and calculated way imaginable. This wasn't just a betrayal in a storyline. It wasn't just a business move. This was a knife to the heart of a brotherhood forged in blood, sweat, and loyalty, a betrayal that went far deeper than contracts and matches, and when the truth surfaced backstage, the fallout was nothing short of apocalyptic. When Brock Lesnar discovered the depth of Heyman's deception, his fury could not be contained, not by security, not by management, not even by the traditions of professional wrestling. Witnesses say that Lesnar, a man known for his legendary temper and explosive violence, snapped in a way that terrified even those who thought they had seen it all. This wasn't the fury of an athlete upset over a storyline twist. This was the rage of a man who had just realized that his closest ally had been stabbing him in the back for years. It began when Brock stumbled upon a recording, a secret file that exposed Heyman's true feelings, and once he heard the words, there was no going back. In the audio, Heyman can be heard mocking Brock, laughing at his supposed gullibility, calling him foolish, stupid, easy to manipulate. Heyman brags about pulling the strings for years, feeding Brock lies, convincing him to make decisions that cost him millions. He admits to secretly passing information to WWE executives, sabotaging Lesnar's contract negotiations, and taking secret payouts worth millions of dollars as rewards for his treachery. Hearing his so-called advocate and best friend openly brag about destroying his career, mocking his intelligence, and exploiting his love for his family was enough to break something inside Brock Lesnar that could never be repaired. The anger that followed wasn't just professional, it was personal, deeply personal. Eyewitnesses described Brock's reaction as beyond terrifying. One employee said they had seen Lesnar angry before, but this was something else, pure hatred, the kind of raw, unfiltered rage that only comes from betrayal. His face turned beet red, his body trembled, and he began destroying everything around him before storming through the backstage halls in search of Heyman. The sounds of Lesnar screaming Heyman's name echoed through the corridors like a war cry. He wasn't just coming for answers, he was coming for blood. When he finally found Paul in the catering area, surrounded by crew members and staff, the confrontation exploded. Brock lunged, grabbing Heyman by the throat, lifting him off the ground, and unleashing years of pent-up loyalty turned to venom. His voice roared as he demanded to know why after 20 years of trust, of partnership, of building an empire together, Heyman would betray him for money and power. Tears streamed down Brock's face as he shouted accusations, calling Heyman a parasite, a leech, a liar who sold his soul for corporate payouts. The scene was chaos. Food flew across the room as Lesnar hurled Heyman onto a catering table, sending plates and drinks scattering. Security swarmed, but even with 6 guards, they struggled to restrain the raging beast incarnate. Eyewitnesses said the power and fury in Lesnar's body was like trying to hold back a hurricane with bare hands. He fought, clawed, and screamed through the chaos, desperate to get his hands back on Heyman. And in those moments, Heyman's cowardice was on full display. Rather than show remorse, rather than apologize or even beg for mercy, Heyman tried to justify himself. He said it was business, nothing personal, that Lesnar of all people should understand how the industry works. Those words only poured gasoline on the fire. Brock nearly broke free again, this time grabbing a steel chair, intent on ending the confrontation in violence until even more security stormed in. Eventually, with nearly a dozen guards holding him back, Brock was dragged away, shouting promises of vengeance, his face streaked with tears, his heart visibly broken. But the confrontation was only the beginning, because the betrayal ran far deeper than anyone could have imagined. It was soon revealed that the recording Brock heard wasn't an accident. It had been deliberately leaked by an anonymous whistleblower inside WWE, someone who had been disgusted by Heyman's actions and decided to expose the truth. This mysterious insider, later revealed to be none other than Heyman's own assistant, had collected a treasure trove of damning evidence over the course of months. Financial records, emails, phone calls, even video footage of Heyman in secret meetings with WWE executives. The evidence revealed a web of deceit so complex it bordered on criminal enterprise. Heyman had been selling out Brock for years, providing confidential information about his personal life and family to the company, using his vulnerabilities as bargaining chips, manipulating him into accepting worse deals while pocketing rewards for himself. Documents showed that Heyman had deliberately cost Lesnar millions in earnings, secretly negotiating contracts that undercut him, all while pretending to fight for his best interests. One particularly sickening revelation came in the form of an email where Heyman advised WWE executives to exploit Lesnar's family life. He wrote about Brock's daughter struggling in school due to his travel schedule and suggested that WWE use this as leverage to pressure him into accepting fewer dates and less money. This wasn't just betrayal of business trust, it was a betrayal of family, of the sacred bond between a father and his children. For Brock, this was unforgivable. Phone call recordings revealed Heyman mocking Lesnar, insisting he needed to be humbled, planning to leak false stories to the media to damage his reputation and market value. In another call, Heyman coldly discussed phasing Lesnar out entirely, building up younger, cheaper talent while ensuring Brock was painted as difficult and unreliable. The malice in his words stunned even veteran employees who had grown used to backstage politics. When WWE management saw the evidence, they were forced to take action. Paul Heyman was immediately suspended, pending investigation, and the company launched a massive internal review of all his dealings. Lawyers and auditors were brought in to comb through every contract, every payment, every communication. The company realized that not only had Heyman betrayed Brock, but his actions had also opened WWE itself to legal liability. If Brock's lawyers could prove WWE executives knowingly participated in Heyman's sabotage, they could face lawsuits worth hundreds of millions. Management scrambled to contain the fallout, holding emergency meetings, consulting legal teams, and implementing new oversight policies. Heyman went from being one of the most powerful figures in the company to being ostracized, vilified, and abandoned almost overnight. But Brock wasn't done. He retained one of the most powerful